Last time on Square Roots. Embrace me, my sweet embraceable vamp. Embrace me, make me your vampire champ. Just one look at you, the heart stopped beating in me. You introduced a brand new style of eating in me. I'll head to Santa Monica if you see fit. If I blow this warehouse, can we neck for a bit? Don't be a naughty princey, come to Nessa, do. My sweet embraceable you.
Hey everyone, and welcome to Square Roots, the classic RPG podcast. My name is Jim Banks. I am joined by, Johnny Mansion Brandon.
Vampire Roll Call. Sorry, I said it wrong. Vampire Roll Call. Eponia Black, smooth talker whose looks can kill. Chad Cemetery. Best lover, license to chill. Claude Scares. Big Brute gives new meaning to dreads. Matthew Vampire's Aunt. Try harder, Matt.
Also joined by Vanessa.
I'm Vanessa. Did you guys pick up on a neck for a bit line? I was really proud of that because, bit as in bitten. Biting on the neck.
I got the first part.
Neck is in neck.
I got the neck part. I didn't get the bit part.
Yeah, neck for a bit. Hey, I'm a genius. Lin-Manuel Mahoo?
Hey guys, what do we do here?
Well, we play video games like classic RPGs, one chunker at a time, and this is our second episode in the Vampire the Masquerade playthrough.
I've had to explain that I'm the co-host of a podcast, so maybe like 4 or 5 different people over the last couple weeks.
Yeah,
and every single person has asked me, do you guys play Borderlands? Every single person.
Oh, we should put that on the list. Maybe we'll make that Matt's choice.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a great RPG.
It is.
Yeah.
So yes, then you can say, yes, we do.
Yeah, but not the one you're talking
about.
Oh. Yeah, we play and talk about classic RPGs. In this case, this is episode 2 of Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, the best and least controversial, most culturally sensitive game that we played.
Woof.
It's really nice to play games in a contemporary setting so they can address with nuance and thought the issues that we face today.
Yeah, it's very well, it sucks. This game's not very good.
I'm a little I had to rush my way through the last level of this chunker, which was not great, but otherwise I think this game's pretty good.
I ran into a lot of glitchy character stuff with the security guards in the last area.
I'm invisible to them if I'm crouching most of the time.
Yeah, I zipped through this. Like there's a cheat you can turn on called No Target, where you're invisible to everybody all the time unless you interact with them.
Mm-hmm.
And just watching them move through the hallways, like their legs were doing weird things. Yeah, it was really strange.
But Jim, you don't need that cheat. If you just crouch, I don't have that many points in stealth or dexterity. They still do not see you. You can be right next to them. The game is broken. You don't need to cheat, Jim, is what I'm saying.
But it's fun.
I know. I walked past this guard, and only when I opened a door next to him was like, hey!
Can I tell you, in this game, it's so frustrating when you hit the button to open a door and then go to move through the door, and unless you wait for the door to open all the way, you'll get caught in it and it will start to close.
That only happened
happen
to
to you
me.
guys?
We talked about that last episode.
Yeah.
That only happened to me on the boat.
That happened to me on the boat a whole bunch. It was probably the same door.
It was all the doors on the boat.
It's a weird level to boat. Anyways, before we get into it, let's talk about how we all leveled up. I have a feeling we're all going to talk about the same thing. So can I just ask, how are you guys enjoying the Outer Worlds?
It's great. I love it. It's just what I like in a video game. It's a Western RPG. It's like Fallout New Vegas space. It's from the creators of this game. Isn't that right, John?
It is. Well, yeah, a lot of like Tim Kaine and Leo Rojarski, the other guy. Yes.
So, really what it is taking the lessons they learned from this already excellent game and just refining them a little bit. It's fantastic.
It's so fun to play. The combat, kind of on the fence about.
It's better than this, the combat.
Oh, for sure.
But I think this has the second or third worst combat of any of the games we've played so far.
This game should not have been a combat game.
Or like make it really like slow down time kind of thing, or
Ooh, like a Max Payne-ish.
Or even turn-based would probably be better.
Ooh, that would be cool.
Yeah, like a strategy.
Make it card-based.
Yeah, make it like a strategy. Like, you each have a move and a turn, but I mean, at least the combat's like I'm playing it on normal. The combat's fast. I get through either and as long as I use there's one ability, the Fortitude one. As long as I put lots of stats into that, it's fine.
Well, we discovered something while you were streaming, John, and that is that your character is missing Blood Heal as a power.
Right. Anyway, well, let's get back. We'll get into that when we talk about Vampire, because we're talking about the Outer Worlds.
Oh, right. I'm sorry. It's a great game. Definitely play it. It has big Firefly vibes.
And the game is really funny. Like, everybody's so well written, and the interactions, especially the scripted ones, are really, really interesting, and you can do cool things with your character and speak to people in funny ways. I like it a lot.
Now, I've only played this game for about 45 minutes, because I keep thinking I have some time to play it, and then, like, I don't. I have to play more Vampire. I have to edit a podcast. Just all the things happen so that I can't actually play this game.
Well, you should.
I did watch. Well, you're still leveling up, so I'll wait till you're done before I talk about my thing.
Oh, well, okay. Well, no, let's move on from the Outer Worlds and talk about John's thing.
I watched Child's Play 2019.
Oh, is it good? I keep meaning to watch it and I haven't yet.
So it's like Child's Play meets Stranger Things.
So is that good?
Yes,
I don't
except
okay.
I like almost all the murder victims, except for, well, yeah, but let's say about 2 of them are too likable, and so you feel really bad when they die in a not fun way.
Oh, that's old school, like the first or second Friday the 13th. When the characters were actual people who you like these fun counselors who hadn't done anything wrong.
Like, if you took Chucky out of this movie, it would still be a really good movie. I think it might be a better movie.
What?
Interesting. See, I was really upset when they took away the whole, like, he's a slasher who used voodoo to transfer his soul, but I kind of like the new direction they took it in, where he's just like a sabotage.
Yeah,
toy.
it's interesting, and they definitely play with it in some interesting ways, but it also like sets up a franchise. In like spoiler, I guess, that the game, the movie leaves it super open. Like a lot of stuff isn't resolved about the dolls and stuff. So it's
oh, good. So there's gonna be like a Chucky cinematic universe.
But like it just makes me really see how Aubrey Plaza isn't used well by Hollywood, because everyone loves her. She's amazing, and they aren't giving her feature roles.
I think I read online that if the movie was just Aubrey Plaza caring for her mentally disturbed child. Like, it would have been like, she could do that because she's that good.
She's
of an
good.
actress.
The kid was all the kids were really fun. The Stranger Things style kid gang was really and I don't know if this is a spoiler, so skip ahead 15 seconds. None of the kids die, which was I was like on the edge that any of those kids were gonna die. Because I don't know. They were cool kids. And, like, just seeing them in danger was kind of just awful. And they weren't in fun danger. It was like, oh no, kind of danger. Although there's like Stranger Things, the kids get exposed to some kind of funny horror, and it's funny how extreme the stuff they're exposed to is. But it's still, I don't know. Like, that's my problem with a lot of horror movies where you like the characters. It's like, I don't want to see them get hurt.
Yeah, now I really want to watch that movie.
Oh yeah, I'm curious what you think. I think Mark Hamill is really good. I don't like this style. Like, it's really gory in some parts.
I've heard that it's really grisly.
And it didn't need to be. There's one death scene that actually two I skipped because one was a nice old lady. I didn't need her to die, and the other one was a John Bear type, and he was a bad guy, but I didn't need him to die. I skipped both those death scenes.
You just skipped them? You fast forwarded?
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't have to watch it. If I don't want to watch it, I don't feel the need to.
I'm a big fan of if I know something really awful is going to be on screen, I'll shut my eyes for a second. I get kind of squeamish. In fact, there was a horror movie that played at like one of the film festivals earlier this year, and then it just like disappeared from the face of the earth, and I really wanted to see it, and it finally hit Hulu last week as like a Hulu original, which is weird, but man, it's fucking terrible. No wonder it went away.
Y'all ever tried closing your eyes on a motion simulator ride?
I've closed my eyes on real roller coasters because I'm like, oh, this is too much.
Real roller coasters don't bother me, but sometimes I get a little motion sick on a motion simulator ride. Mm-hmm. And if you close your eyes, it's really apparent how little the ride actually moves compared to how much you're feeling like it moves. Like,
that's interesting.
They just kind of tilt a little bit. So try it. Go on Star Tours and close your eyes.
I will. Is there any other level up bits that either of you want to talk about?
I don't think so.
No, I'm all about them. Outer Worlds life.
I made a really slow Outer Worlds character, which I think I've already got a couple of really fun dialogue options from that. And I
think like when I play through it again, because I will play through it again. I want to do the low intelligence stuff and see what happens. And
I put all his stats into melee, and I'm playing on hard. And I can one hit kill like most enemies.
The melee in this game, that's the best part of the combat. Like, I've found some really cool melee weapons that you can pick up in certain parts of the game. Like, if you really explore, there's some really cool ones, and just smacking people and watching them fly.
I got this like
it's really
some kind of polo stick on the ship, the first ship that you get into with the AI that talks to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got a polo stick there that seems really good. And I also got like a staff that goes like extends, you know.
Oh yeah, those are cool.
Yeah.
I haven't been doing melee at all. Maybe I should try playing around with that.
You should spec to whatever, so if you're spec to guns, just stick with guns.
Yeah, I'm spec to guns. I got a good zapping gun. It does zap people and sometimes turn them into piles of dust.
Yay!
Oh, that's cool. I found a shrink ray.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
I got it too. I haven't used it yet, though.
Yeah, I haven't used mine either, and I really want to.
Fun.
I keep forgetting. Oh, I'm going to shrink someone.
And I'm not going to play... Well, I might play... I have time to play Outer Worlds tonight, because I'm going to hang out with Julio for a few hours, and then I might have a couple hours of free time. Yeah. Let's open Kindred, the Dark Compendium.
More like the Dork Compendium.
Whoa.
More like the Dork Compendium.
Now, one thing that I found out in my stream chat while let's talk about the stream for a second. Vanessa and I both encountered that some of my online friends really like Vampire the Masquerade.
They do. They came in and they were like asking about our specs, and then like when I talked about my opinions, they were like, "Ha ha, that's really good role playing, classic." Treme.
Well, they're calling, "Oh, you Tories are all like that."
That's right. They called me a Tory.
There are, man, it's like Harry Potter houses.
It totally is. It's like,
yeah.
And I think kind of us coming into it being a little dismissive of it is like like us playing a Star Wars game and being like, "What's with these dummies with these light up swords? Hey, look at me. I got glow sticks and I'm hitting each other with them."
It totally is. I mean, we talked last time about the work that people have put into this patch and how the latest version of this fan patch came out like a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, on the 10th.
Yeah, people love this world and they love this game.
And speaking of patch problems, Vanessa alluded to it earlier, but each version of the game is broken in a different way. And mine is broken in the way where I can't heal myself. Like this ability just doesn't exist.
Yeah, because John
That's
kept dying
weird.
in fights, and I was like, "Why aren't you using blood heal?" And he's like, "What's blood heal?"
My main issue with the game is that it's yet, like, even the player character, the dialogue options make it seem like he doesn't give a shit about what's going on. And so, like, I'm having trouble giving a shit when people talk to me. Like, I don't care. Like, all these factions and vampire politics, like, my character doesn't seem to give a shit, and everybody tells him that he doesn't know anything. So, like, I don't care.
I wonder if that is more sort of resonant and interesting for people who were really into the LARP game or the tabletop game. So they came to this game with all this knowledge about the history and the clans and how they relate to each other, and then you kind of get to play this character who's just like, I don't know shit about any of this.
But
That's true. It was really, like, it really stuck out in the game after the mansion when you have to escape and that guy's like, I'm coming for you and I set this place on fire and remember my name, and your character responds with, whatever.
now with Beckett at the end of this chunker, you have a chance to talk to Beckett, and the only option to end the conversation is, "I don't care about this, I'm leaving," unless you ask him about everything, and then you say, like, "This is super interesting, thank you so much for teaching me, goodbye."
That's so incredibly fascinating.
Wow, so your clique really doesn't like this other clique, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. It's sort of like, have you guys ever had a friend who will like tell you about their other friends and everything going on with them, and you don't know these people at all?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That has happened to me, and like I had a friend who would just talk to me about these people as if I should know who they are. Like, "Oh, Tracy did this and this to Stephanie, but, you know, Stephanie was dating Tom." And I'm like, I have never met these people in my life. It's like that.
Mm-hmm. Or it's like how the only thing I know about Julie is that she dropped some board games and you made fun of her.
How dare you?
Photographed her in her misery.
Yes.
Instead of helping.
No, I know all sorts of things about her now. I've been corrected that she is smart and talented and accomplished.
She is. Shout out to my friend Julie.
Julie. So, on our way
Who
down-
was name dropped in The Guardian last week.
Oh,
the
wow.
newspaper.
Hey, good for her.
Mm-hmm. So, put that in your Vanessa Book of Clues. If you can obtain copies of last week's Guardian and read every article looking for a mention of Julie, you might be able to figure out who my friend is.
Another clue for our fans to pore over in the Square Roots basements.
Mm-hmm.
Someone's got their like board with all the like red felt string attached to Vanessa and the podcast and all our clues.
There's a new, like, they're going to find her picture and hang it, like, pin it to a board, and then it's going to be, like, covered in string.
Yeah. Vanessa needs to throw out some false leads, some red herrings.
That's a good idea.
There you go. Yeah, I need to put in some misinformation.
Yeah.
I did notice when Googling our own podcast, as I do from time to time, one of the autofill suggestions was Square Roots Vanessa.
I noticed that too, and I thought, and I hadn't searched that myself, because, usually the first suggestion is something you've searched before, so...
Right.
But yeah, I think you are the most searched thing about the podcast.
I think
your SEO is out of control.
Exactly.
The Patreon is a little bit higher. Listeners, if you were looking for a picture of me, I guarantee you whatever you have in your mind is better than the real thing. I'm a hideous old hag.
No, you're not. Don't be mean.
I just was fishing for compliments from John again.
Oh, okay.
So when I go to search it, I get Square Roots Podcast, Square Roots Podcast Reddit, Square Roots Podcast Patreon, and then Square Roots Podcast Vanessa.
Yep,
Nope.
same for me.
Well, there you go.
Yep.
Do we have a
Good job,
Reddit?
Vanessa.
No.
Oh, no. No, don't search that. Oh.
The first one that comes up is the terrible our response to our first episode.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
When Matt was like, hey guys, what do you think of this? And they were like, it's awful.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Reddit. Anyway, so on your way
I mean, they weren't wrong.
downtown. Yeah, we figured out most of our audio issues after that, which was good.
Yeah.
Sometimes getting some rough advice helps, but it's also people on Reddit could be nicer.
Yeah. Like maybe be a little constructive, like good try.
And also don't have a podcast pimp your stuff thread and then get mad at people pimping your stuff.
Yeah.
That's true.
Oh, hey, I did the Square Roots podcast Vanessa and searched on images, or clicked on images, and the fourth picture is one of John.
Oh.
And none of them are pictures of me. There is a good-looking young woman, though, so if you want to pretend that that's me, that's fine.
Okay. I'm really kind of impressed with the production values of the video of the lady whose song we are using for this. Did you watch that? She's really good.
Yes,
I did
it's
actually.
amazing.
I watched it when you posted it, and it is something.
How does
else.
it not have more than 5,000 views? It's like, this is really good. She's very talented.
There's a lot of content on the internet.
That is true. Anyway, so trip downtown. On the way downtown, you get jumped by some Sabat jerks.
Yeah, they suck.
Yeah, they totally clock you in the head with a bat as soon as you step out of the taxi.
That is,
and they're just like, "What's up? We're gonna kill you."
the quintessential LA experience.
Oh,
This whole like dialogue of them where they're talking like we're gonna take your teeth and then we're gonna cut your eyeballs out or whatever. It's like, fucking get on with it.
That should have been your response to them.
Doesn't one guy like look at the camera and like, you're about to see something really gross?
Now, my quintessential LA experience was the first day after I arrived to Los Angeles. I drove to work and I was looking for the turn off or the street, and I didn't notice I was running right through a red light in front of a cop car.
Oh
no.
And then so I like pulled over and the cop like pulled me over. It's like, "Oh, I'm super sorry. That was totally my fault. I was looking for my job." And he's like, "Oh, don't worry about it. Just let me go."
Like, sorry, I'm Canadian.
Yeah, pretty much.
Canada's huge. We often don't see people for months at a time.
Yep, exactly. So I apparently Burbank cops are not normally like that. So
I have a story to tell about Canada cops.
Oh.
It didn't happen to me,
Mounties.
but it happened to a friend of mine. She was in
Named
Vancouver, BC.
Vanessa.
Vanessa was driving around Vancouver, BC, and was late, was supposed to be going somewhere, and made a, turn against traffic or something. Cop pulled her over and said, "Hey, what are you doing?" And Vanessa was upset and crying and was like, "I'm sorry, I'm so late. I don't know where I'm going. I'm American." And the cop was like, "Oh, I know where that is. Follow me." And got back in his car, turned on his lights, and escorted her to her destination.
Wow, lucky Vanessa.
Wow, that's very nice.
That's cops in Canada.
Oh boy. So, fortunately, right before your teeth and eyes get extracted, you are saved by the hunky Nines Rodriguez.
Yes.
I get a real Freddie Mercury vibe from him.
Whoa.
I don't really know. He reminds me of, there was like an actor, but I couldn't remember his name. I wish I could think of it.
So I just see him like coming in and final deathing these two Sabbats, and I just hear in my head, "Flash! Oh, do 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 do.
He'll do the impossible.
Flash! Oh."
He'll save every one of us.
That song is both amazing and terrible. I always mix that one up with so they did not only the theme to Flash, or the whole soundtrack to Flash Gordon, but they did the Highlander song too, and those two songs I mix up all the time.
I don't know if I could place the Highlander song.
I am immortal, something, something, king of kings. I have no rival. It's really good. I think it's one of the best Queen songs. It's really dumb and great. Flash. Ah. You can mix those two probably.
Oh, someone should. Listeners, if you can do a mashup of Flash and that other song, send it in.
Yeah, please. I'd love to hear a sweet remix. We don't really get the mashups anymore. That was a real 2008 kind of thing. Now it's just 2000 late.
It's because Glee is off the air. Glee really spawned the mashup fever that swept America.
Mm-hmm.
I remember. I miss Community making fun of Glee. That was one of my favorite things in that. Like the whole Christmas special, that was a Glee parody.
Mm-hmm. That was pretty great.
When they got... Oh, you know what? I just keep talking about my favorite Community scenes on this podcast, and I should not.
Yeah, we've barely talked about what happens.
So Nine saves us, and he's like, "Hey, so you're coming here to report to Princey Man. Well, why don't you come talk to me over at the Last Resort bar, because I'm going to fill you in on what's really going on."
Yeah.
Man.
Nine's got the 911. No, that's not what it's called. The 411.
The 411.
So, but before you do that, you should probably meet the prince, because he's waiting for you. And he's in this big old tower. And on your way to see the prince, you meet up with your favorite security guard, or at least my favorite security guard, Chunk.
Yeah.
You finally get his name. He's like, "Well, my name's Chunk. Oh, it's not really my name, but that's what everyone calls me, and I'm fine with it, because I have very little, what's it called when you don't realize things about yourself? Self-awareness."
Mm-hmm.
Poor Chunk. Chunk is sweet. I'm always super nice to him. I'm always interested in all the stories he has to tell. He's got a lot of stories.
Mm-hmm. He is a sweet guy. A good guy to have on your side.
Yeah, and he's very food obsessed in a way that I relate to.
Mm-hmm. He wants his eclair.
Mm-hmm. He's got a security camera right on his eclair. This is not the best writing in the game. It's just fat jokes.
Well, it sort of tricks you because, he's looking at his camera and he's like, "Oh, yeah, I can't wait to get my hands on you." And
Yeah, that was weird. And I was like, what is he looking at?
and then he's like, "Don't touch my eclair."
He's like, "Oh, camera 3. Yeah, let me take a peek at that." And it's like, what?
He kind of reminds me of straight guys that I had crushes on when I was like in college who weren't super attractive, but were just like nice, dopey, beefy boys. We're just nice. He reminds me of that. Anyway, so we head upstairs to the prince, and you get to see his beautiful suite, which is very empty, like most of the rooms in this game.
Mm-hmm. Well, the undead
They made the rooms
don't...
like too big.
Yeah. They don't have a need for furniture.
I feel like they could have put things in the room so you could like get a bit more sense of the character. Like the only room so far with where you sort of get a sense of who lives there is the twins. They had stuff in there.
The prince has stuff. He has a desk.
Mm-hmm.
He has a chair.
Mm-hmm.
He has murals.
Does he?
Well, he has paintings.
Oh, okay. Are they the same paintings as in every other room?
They're the fancy version of the paintings.
The one really distinct one was in the mansion. That big green-haired lady
with the stars around. That one was beautiful. I like that one.
That one was really good.
I guess that's the wife. I'm guessing. Well, we'll get that. We'll get to there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess the prince is he doesn't have time to decorate. He is trying to become like head of the Camarilla.
He's a busy man. He's trying to keep everyone in harmony and make sure things are working.
Mm-hmm.
He's an administrator.
So you tell him that you succeeded in your mission, I assume. I don't know if there's like alternate dialogue for you screwing this up somehow. And he asks you to do another task. Investigate the Elizabeth Dane, a ghost ship which arrived into port.
Ooh, I love a ghost ship.
With everyone missing on board, it's got a sarcophagus, which he's real interested in, but asks you not to open it. Do not open it.
Don't open the Anakin sarcophagus.
Mm-hmm. The Anakin sarcophagus?
The Anakin sarcophagus.
Yeah, you don't want to. There's lots of sand, and it just gets everywhere.
Is Anakin sarcophagus a good nickname for the Darth Vader suit?
Ooh, it should be, for sure. So yeah, he leaves you with that. He says about 15 times not to open the sarcophagus, and also he asks that you not murder the cops.
Yeah, he thinks that might cause some problems later.
Yeah. So I decided to do everything else first before going to investigate this. What about you?
I did too.
Should we talk about side quests now, or really mainline this?
Well, I thought maybe we could talk about the big chonky side quest, the plaguebearer. Did you do this, Jim?
I don't think so, actually.
Well, if you go to the last resort, like Nines asked you to, there's a couple of people there. There's Damsel. Who's Strauss? Is Strauss the guy upstairs who's not Nines?
No, Strauss isn't at the last resort. Strauss is the Tremé fellow in his fancy mansion.
Oh, and I don't get that because I'm not Tremé, I guess.
No, you can go in there if you're not Tremé. I did.
Where's his fancy mansion?
Yeah, no, it's just around downtown somewhere.
Oh, okay. Wow, okay. Yeah, I got this from Damsel.
I got it from Damsel, and then I went to see Strauss, and he's like, I want you to do something for me. And it's the same thing Damsel wants. And I'm like, I'm already doing that. And he's like, oh, you suck. And I'm like, wait, I'm already doing that as a trick to do it for you. And he's like, oh, okay, cool.
So, Damsel is this, I guess she's like a lieutenant of Nines. And she's like a college communist activist girl. Kind of not a flattering stereotype. It's sort of like what a 40-year-old guy thinks about activist women in their 20s.
Mm-hmm.
I get that real vibe about her.
Yeah.
I like her. I want to be besties with her. She reminds me of people I hung out in college with.
Doesn't everyone? Apparently.
Yeah, it's true.
Wow.
Her and Chunk. Not Nines, really, though.
Well, maybe this game being set in the same time frame as you were in college.
Yeah.
Brings up these memories.
It's true, because the music very much places me back in college. And especially, there's this one song by Jenna Torturer that plays on repeat in the Last Resort bar.
That music. Oof.
I really like that song.
The song when you first roll up to the mansion, there's like an acousticy like song that starts when the cab pulls up there, and that's like took me straight back to the aughts.
Mm-hmm. So many things about this dude, just the style, the sort of parodies contained in the game, and everything is just, this is the most 2004 game you could. Well, really, this game could have come out, except for the graphics, anywhere between 98 and 2004.
Mm-hmm.
It's really in that slice of time.
Unfortunately.
For better or worse. I'm surprised there's no one with white tank top and M&M hair.
Yeah, that seems like it would fit perfectly in this game.
Yeah. So Damsel asks us to really look in on, at least asked me to look in on this plaguebearer, because there's someone who is a vampire who is giving, basically vampires are immune to human diseases, but can still transmit and carry them.
Mm-hmm.
And there is someone who is getting everyone sick. And that's why, I don't know if you've noticed, there are CDC people all around downtown LA. And if you get near them, they sometimes talk to each other. They're wearing like Back to the Future style biocontamination suits. And if you get near them, you just hear them talk and they're just like, I laughed real hard at that.
Okay, wait, why are they here? Why are they in the game?
Because there's a plague. People are getting super sick all around LA with STDs.
Of course it is.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
It really is. It's very thinly veiled, people giving each other HIV, and this quest, I think, maybe is the most problematic one in the game so far.
I think it's a powerful metaphor.
For what? It's not even a metaphor. It really is just people giving each other HIV and goes on. Oh, I have some.
This is a powerful example of how not to write.
I have some. We'll talk about the steps and how this one ends, because I have some problems here with this one. All right, Vanessa. So what happens after you get this quest?
So we are sent to check on a fellow named Paul, who's been identified as one of the sick.
Mm-hmm.
And we head over to his apartment in the Skyline apartment building.
Mm-hmm.
And he is very much dead on the floor.
Now, I thought he might have been murdered, because he doesn't look like he died of illness. He's fully clothed, just on the floor of his kitchen.
I believe he did die of illness, though.
Yeah, it's just the game didn't communicate it through environmental clues or like
No.
lots of pillows or sweat. It doesn't give you any messages about his body.
Yeah. But you can play his answering machine, and he has a message from his neighbor upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
And she says that she is very sick, and she hopes that she didn't give whatever she has to Paul.
Mm-hmm.
And could he please pick up some medicine for her?
Mm-hmm.
And she gives you the code to her apartment. So we go up there and find Hannah, who is very sick in bed.
Now, you get some medicine elsewhere in the game. Can you give it to her?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Do they name the disease that these people have?
They don't.
Okay, that's probably for the
Yes.
They just call it a plague.
Yes.
best. Okay.
But that is it's at least easily transmissible via sex.
Yes.
Got it.
As we learn very shortly.
Mm-hmm.
Because Hannah, as it turns out, is a sex worker.
Mm-hmm.
And she says that she started to feel sick after getting a phone call in response to an advertisement she placed in a local newspaper
Mm-hmm.
from a lady named Jezebel.
Now, she says she mostly goes on referrals, that she doesn't
Mm-hmm.
normally take random anonymous clients, but why did she have a newspaper ad then?
I guess just in case someone calls and offers her a ton of money, because that's what she said happened here.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe she was just like trying to seem classy.
Yeah. And then she just dies.
Yeah, she's like, oh, and first you get like a dialogue thing that says, guess she was sicker than I thought, and then she dies, which I think is very interesting.
And also, like, 100 hit points of damage just appears over her head.
Yeah.
That's how plagues work, I guess.
That's how death works. It's just like all her hit points go away, and she dies.
I felt really bad. I thought maybe if you had, like, some kind of science or intelligence or something, you could help this lady, but I guess not.
No.
'Cause
You can hack into her computer, though. Did you do that?
Probably. I can't. What did you find?
I found that she thinks Paul's a real creeper.
Oh, then I
She's
did
like,
not.
I do not like Paul. He sucks. I hate Paul.
Now, how did you get into Jezebel's place?
I went to the hotel that she's staying at, which is a very nice hotel.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to the front deskman and I said, hello, please, may I have a key to Jezebel's room? And he's like, sure thing.
Huh.
Wow. I had to break into the back and print myself a key because he did not want to help me and didn't believe any of my excuses. I don't have any points in speech, so I was not very persuading on that.
Well, you tried.
Mm-hmm. And so you get to Jezebel's room, and there's no way of avoiding this encounter. She runs at you and wants to seduce you right away. And if you say,
she's like, hello.
Hey, let's get together and put my nasties inside of you, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like,
you're like, no, thank you, please.
No, thanks. I don't want to end up like Hannah. And she's like, oh, well, the angel of death visits all the sex workers. They're great for distributing this gift I have to give. And so then you're like, you insane whore, I have to kill you? That's
not what
it was something.
say.
It was pretty rough.
It says you're sick and you're going to die.
Is that what? I thought it was a little bit worse than that.
No, it wasn't. And I was watching you when you played it and you were so taken aback by it. And I was like, it could just mean like physically sick. Not like...
Well, either way, it just seemed really... I don't know. There's just this conservative vibe to that is just... she's doing a bad thing, but the game reacts to it in such a way that is like... How do you feel about HIV and all these things there, programmers? I got really uncomfortable with it. Because it sure seemed like I think putting guilt onto people that maybe don't need it kind of way. She was an extreme case. She's an exaggeration of living with STDs or STIs, and she's kind of making out people who have sex, while positive as being supervillains, and there's just a lot of ethics to it that are just like, oh, this isn't good.
That's a lot of shaming.
Yeah, and and that the only response you'll get to in the end of the dialogue tree is, I'm going to kill you now.
Yikes.
Yeah. So I was really uncomfortable with that. That's why I was so taken aback.
I mean, I guess she could just go and live off rats the rest of her life.
Yeah. I just feel like there's other ways there could have been some better endings to this particular one.
Yeah, like convince her to kill herself.
No.
So
maybe get vampire antiviral treatments. Go get some vampire healthcare about this and seek alternate vampire treatments. Maybe
get
new
on
research.
Vampire Truvia.
Yeah, exactly. Truvada.
Oh yeah, that.
Anyway, that is not an option. You kill her.
Mm-hmm.
And if you go back to Damsel, she's like, well, it looks like she wasn't the only one. There might be some kind of cult. And she does sort of mention that this disease is kind of holy. She has this weird culty way of talking.
Mm-hmm. What? Not Damsel, Jezebel.
So I didn't explore this any further.
Oh.
But Vanessa, where does this take you?
Well, should we save the rest for next time? Because we do go back to downtown, and that way maybe you have a chance to explore it, and
sure. Okay.
Jim can too.
Yeah.
Sure.
I also did in the Empire Arms, or whatever it was called, the that building where Jezebel lived. I did talk to the Russian mafia there. Jim, did you do this?
No, I didn't know those people were there.
So I went to the other club called The Confessional, I think, which is built in an old church. And it's a very empty club. Vanessa says that in the plus patch, there's more dancers and guards and people in there.
There are definitely people in the cages.
Where you said there was some security guy up front too.
No, that was in the Skyline apartments.
Oh yeah, there's no one there in the Skylight Apartments.
Yeah,
in my version.
There is a rotational gate, and then I can ask her to take it out.
A rotational gate? Why would you want to take that out?
Because it sucks to walk through.
Oh, I asked her to. So basically, I did this quest for the lady who runs this bar because she's like, if you do this, well, first she asked me to do like a little favor for some cash, which is just tell these guys she can't pay them back. And I did that, and they attacked me, so I killed them. Then she's like, well, if you want to, you can help take care of this guy who loaned me the money to build this place. And I'm like, sure. Consider it done. In return, she will give me partial ownership of the bar. So I went to go talk to him. In Vanessa watched me do this, a series of failures. Basically, it's a stealth mission to get to the top floor and break in. There's a few different ways to get there. I kept dying and getting attacked by all the angry guards because I tried to talk my way through. But then I found there's one guard outside this guy's door. If you just vampire suck his blood out and kill him, then he doesn't warn anyone else. And you can just go inside and then talk to the bad guy. And
or you can just convince him to let you in.
I don't have that power. I'm not good at talking. So what did you do?
I convinced him to let me in.
And what happened?
And, there is a Russian mafia guy in there, and he was like, who are you? I'm Russian. The accents aren't very good in this game. What is you doing here? It's me, the Russian.
That is how Russian sounds. Zut alors, sacre bleu.
No collusion. So I said, hey, I understand that you have been exploiting this woman for sex because she owes you money. How about you do stop that and go away? And he was like, why would I do that? And I was like, probably I'll sleep with you then. And he's like, cool, goodbye. But you better come back and sleep with me.
Mm-hmm.
But guess what? I didn't.
None of my dialogue choices worked. So he attacked me and I just killed him very easily.
I think I may have actually killed him after we had that conversation. Because I did not like him. So I think I did sneak up behind him and bite his neck until he was dead.
Well, he deserved it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then you can get, I guess, there's no one to pursue this debt. You don't get like a deed to the bar or anything. I was looking for something like that, but I couldn't find it.
Vampires can't enter into legal contracts.
Oh, I didn't know that.
What?
I think Vanessa's making that up.
Oh.
Prove that I am.
Because they can't help but sign their name with vampire at the end of it, and it immediately gives them away.
You bring me a vampire in a legally binding contract, and I'll change my mind. And I don't mean one of those guys who hangs out at the town's goth club and does like a little blood play on occasion. I'm talking a real undead blood-sucking vampire.
Mm-hmm. I went back to the confessional, and the lady and I agreed to split ownership of this bar, and I had some suggestions for improvements, like maybe not playing the same song on repeat. And she was like, I don't have time to really listen to your suggestions. I'm busy. So I feel like I might have got conned here.
You know what? We need you to be more of a silent partner.
Yep. So the Elizabeth Dane. This was in a series of increasingly broken quests. I still feel like this was the brokenest of the three.
It's pretty broke.
So what's broken about it? So let's set it up a little bit. So the prince guy asked you to go check out this boat because there's a sarcophagus on it. One, it's a crime scene because a bunch of people were killed, and two, there's a special sarcophagus on it.
The Anakin sarcophagus.
I'm sorry, say that again.
The Anakin sarcophagus.
Anakin No, that's not it.
The Anduvian
Anchorin?
and Duvian.
Arrincan?
It's
Anduvian?
not antediluvian. I don't think it.
No.
Because
That was really close, though.
No, it wasn't that complicated.
no, it was like because they talk about
I
antediluvian.
thought it was Arkin.
Yeah, something like that. Arcaran, maybe. Because the antediluvians are the progenitors of the vampires.
Oh, that's right. That's what they think might be in the sarcophagus.
Yes.
Okay, this was something like there's some lore a little bit starting to peek out. I was into that. I was like, I want to go see what's going on in that sarcophagus. So they tell you to go go on this boat, get the manifest from the ship, and see if you can find out what happened.
Mm-hmm.
But he said, don't open the sarcophagus.
Mm-hmm.
You can look at it, but under no circumstances should you open it.
Mm-hmm.
I heard the same thing from that psychic on the beach. She was like,
Yeah.
don't open it.
And
I was like, everybody needs to calm down. I have no intention of opening this sarcophagus.
that was frustrating because I obviously knew what she was talking about, but the only answers are like, what? I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't like it when they make the character dumber than the player.
Yes, it is a little frustrating. So, there's as soon as you walk in, if you're not sneaking, a cop comes up to you and asks if you're a reporter. And I'm not a reporter. And if I try to pretend to be one without any good dialogue skills, he starts shooting you. So he walked up to me and I just said, screw you. I don't need your help. Because he Jacobson, some editor had bribed him into helping. Did you take that path, Vanessa?
I sure didn't. I convinced him I was Lois Lane, ace reporter for the Daily Planet.
I did the same thing.
Oh, so what happens if you convince him?
He gives you a police report.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I had to find it myself.
Oh, he also distracts one of the guards by pretending to see a whale.
Yeah. Whoa, I just saw a big whale.
Yeah.
Now, the guards here, and the police, this is where I realized that the stealth mechanic is completely broken. Was this area.
It's super broken in this game.
Because if you're crouching, they basically can't see you, no matter what. And if you're walking, they will see you and start shooting at you immediately. Like you can sort of try to distract them by throwing stuff, but the game's so empty that there's not enough throwing things to really make this mechanic work.
Mm-hmm.
Also, it's a real crapshoot on whether they'll even react to it or not.
Yeah. So I found just crouching right next to people is fine. That is the way to easily get through these stealth scenarios. Because there's first there's a crew log in the records room that you can break into if you have keys or like lockpick ability. I wonder if Matt ever figured out how to, because I think you can buy one from the pawn shop, the lockpick.
Oh, yeah.
Because he seems like he has really screwed himself in this game.
Yeah, he claims not to have a lockpick.
And
you only need one for the whole game.
Yeah. Then there is the police report, which is right next to some cops. You have to sneak around to get that. You can do some jumping and climbing and sneaking around on the crates. And there's a crane, and I tried to use that to distract the cops, but it just made all the cops draw their guns when I played with it.
Yeah, you can drop it, so I guess you could theoretically drop it on them.
Yeah, you could.
But you can't even see where it is you're dropping it.
And the prince asks you not to murder cops, so I haven't been murdering cops.
Yeah, he's a real cop lover.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. But a real bootlicker.
Yeah, he's like, Blue Lives Matter.
So what I did was sneak around. I snuck around to the back of the sarcophagus, and that was enough. I don't know if you can. If you go in from the front, I guess you'd have to kill everybody.
Yeah, I went to the back too.
And you don't do anything. It just says you look at the sarcophagus, and you give the prince lots of details that I have no idea how I found out.
I was reading online that you can go into the security room and just point a camera at the sarcophagus, and that's enough.
Oh, that's awesome!
Yeah, so like you don't even have to sneak past all those dudes to go see it. You can just point a camera at it, and that'll be
That's
that.
really clever.
Yeah, that's super smart. Did you do that?
No, I wish
No,
I had.
snuck all the way back.
Then you have to sneak all the way out of the ship and get out, and that's what I did.
By the way, like this city is wasting resources on this crime scene. None of these police are doing anything.
No, they're just standing around.
Yeah.
And then they have the sarcophagus like sort of behind some caution tape for some reason.
Mm-hmm. And the crime scene seems pretty bloody. So I don't know what happened.
By the none of I would imagine that the people who were murdered on the ship did not all get murdered in and around the sarcophagus. The sarcophagus is the only thing that's taped up.
Maybe they did, though. Maybe it did a thrall and attracted them.
Sucked them all in.
Yeah, then spat them out like Johnny Depp in the ceiling of that room in Nightmare on Elm Street.
That would be cool. I have a real strong suspicion, though, that I'm going to be disappointed by this lore. It's going to try to be like edgy, or it's going to do a fake out or something, and I know it's going to disappoint the hell out of me.
Maybe. So you get back to the prince. Is there anything else that happened to you on this ship other than the doors being super broken?
The doors are super broken, and you can honk the horn. So I did that.
Yeah, you can honk the horn and turn the ship's engines on.
Ooh, fun.
Yeah.
I don't know if that really does anything, but you can do it.
Yep, you can do it. I thought it would change the position of the police or something, but no, didn't really do anything. And
this reporting back to the prince sort of sets up that he just talks over you. He doesn't really listen to you.
Yeah, because you can be like, I went and I saw. He's like, oh, good. Like, no way, I saw this whole thing. And he's like, oh, good, you went. I told you to go and you did it. Hooray.
Is this also... Yeah, this is where you come back and he is being scolded by some of the elders.
Mm-hmm.
What are the names? The Premiables?
Primogens?
Primogen.
Yeah.
Primogens.
Yeah, the Primogens seem to be scolding and kind of belittling the prince.
Also, these characters, as they walked, towards me and out of the room, the game was glitching their coattails.
Yep.
Were flapping wildly.
So he doesn't really tell you what's going on with these Primogen. He's just don't worry about them. They are none of your business. And then I try to be really polite with him, and he really likes it. And he's like, oh, were you in the army? Because I was in Napoleon's army.
Yeah, he told me the same thing. He's like, keep calling me sir. I like that. And I was like, yes, sir. He
also asks you to talk to... I forgot to mention that. He asked you to talk to Nines. And so Nines gives you his opinion on the Camarilla. And Nines is like, yeah, they're just protecting themselves. They don't really care about anyone. They just like structure. And we're like anarchs, and we don't like structure. We like kind of freedom and not these rules. And we don't tell people who they can and can't sire.
Yeah, and they're pissed off because they've kind of taken LA for themselves.
Yeah, and the anarchs had it for years.
Yeah, and it's been that way for a long time, and then now the prince just decided to set up shop, and he's like, now I run everything, and there's a lot of tension between these two groups.
Mm-hmm. Which seems like a powder keg ready to explode.
And we're the match.
Yeah.
Ooh. This game is awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, did you talk... A couple of things happen here, both involving ghouls. There's a lady over at the confessional who is super excited to meet you and tell you about this guy that she loves.
Oh, yeah. She's like, he's a Toreador, and he always wears Versace, and he's really great, and I know all the great vampires. If you haven't heard of him, it's probably because you suck, and you're too unimportant to know him, but he's great, and he's going to come back for me.
Mm-hmm. And she's she's obsessed with this. I can't remember the name of her boyfriend, or her sire or whatever you want to call it.
Her master.
Master, yeah. But he hasn't come back to see her for a while, and she is jonesing for a blood fix from him.
Mm-hmm. Because she is a ghoul or a human who is fed on the blood of a vampire.
So they get like healing abilities and stuff, but they are addicted to the blood.
Yeah.
I think it says that a human who drinks the blood of the same vampire at least 3 times is forever their slave.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So I go back. One of the other guys at the last resort asked me to deal with her because she is ruining the masquerade. She's always asking about this guy and trying to find him and talking about vampires to people.
She's like, guess what? I know a vampire.
One of my favorite lines of dialogue from this game so far is when you're talking to that guy in the bar and he's telling you about this side quest. And you mention the masquerade, and he's like, and he doesn't. This is like paraphrasing, but he's like, that's a stupid fucking term. Like, we just don't want people to know we're vampires.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I dealt with this by telling her that her master had reappeared, and he was in a dark alleyway. And then I met her and drank her blood, and killed her. Vanessa had a more, I think, diplomatic manner of solving this one.
I told her he was in San Diego. And off she went.
That's a brilliant plan.
Not my problem anymore.
I killed her. And I lost a humanity point for killing her, but then I got one back for doing the quest. So
Nice.
yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Jim, how's your humanity?
It's good. With the way that I'm playing the game, which is lots of cheats. Anytime I lose humanity, I can just open up my character editor and increase it back to max humanity.
My humanity's mostly at max, unless I have to do a couple of things like that. Are you still keeping breasts at maximum?
No, I have not touched that. Where you can the fact that this game has a breast value that you can augment, like, that's so dumb.
I just kind of want to see what the breasts look like if you max them out.
I do too, and
sure
I think
you can Google
that. I think a feature of the patch is that in the unpatched version, you can only raise them to a certain amount. When the patch came out, they removed that cap, so you can just make them as big as your imagination will go.
Oh, this game is so dumb. All right. So, the other, remember, what's her name? Hannah? No, Hannah was the other girl. Heather. So after the Elizabeth Dane, I was just walking up to go see the prince, and Heather, who was the girl at the clinic that I gave some blood to because she was about to die, she's like, hey, so I think I'm a ghoul now that you give me this blood, and I really want more, so I really want to serve you and do anything you want me to do. I'm like, all right. She's like, really? Can I stay with you? I'm like, sure. Do you want to clean my house? She's like, yeah, I'd love to clean your house. I'm like, all right, see you later.
Wow.
Did that happen to you, Vanessa?
She showed up, and then I did tell her to go away.
Oh.
And she did.
Well, I have a ghoul now. I'm going to go visit her.
A ghoul friend.
Yeah, like not a girlfriend, just a ghoul who's a friend. So I've got this cool lady who's hanging out with me. Because she's addicted to my blood.
Ooh.
So stupid.
The mansion. The second thing the prince asks us to do is to check on, what was his name? Alistair Grout?
I thought it was like Gert Grout. Was it Grout?
Aloysius Grout or Alistair Grout? Yeah, it's definitely Grout.
Mm-hmm.
Because he talks about him being in the cracks of the society.
Yeah, he's a primogen, but he didn't show up for this primogen meeting.
Mm-hmm.
And he's the primogen of the, what are they called?
The Malkavians.
Yes, who are the mentally unstable ones, or psychic ones if you want to be generous.
Yeah. They have expanded consciousness that that is kind of tactlessly associated with mental illness in this game.
Right, but it's not really a mental illness per se, because it's just like input that other people can't comprehend, so they think that they're crazy.
So he tells us about how he's kind of shut himself away recently, and he's become increasingly paranoid. So you can go to his house and visit him. And he just wants you to check in on him. And then the only way to complete this mission, he says, is for him to contact the prince.
Yes. I did go to his house, and as you're entering, it's a mansion in the Hollywood Hills, which did confuse John, and I apologize for my lack of clarity.
Because Vanessa said, go to the Hollywood Hills, or go to Hollywood, that's when the end of this chunker is. So I was like, oh, I'm done. So I didn't go until like an hour before we record the podcast.
Yeah, Hollywood and the Hollywood Hills are two different things.
Mm-hmm. I lived in Diamond Bar. I never really spent much time in Hollywood when I was in LA.
Or the Hollywood Hills?
I went to the Griffith Observatory quite a few times because that park is beautiful.
Oh, nice.
It's my favorite, one of my favorite places in LA.
Oh.
Yeah.
Iconic.
It really is.
Featured in La La Land.
Featured in every movie.
Yeah. And TV shows. I think Angel went there a lot.
Men in Black goes there. And yeah. So, when you get there, Nines is just heading out, and he's being really weird.
He's been super weird.
He just tells you not to go in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he sounds like, I thought my game was glitching, but I think he's meant to sound weird, because he's like, Robert, don't go in there.
And you talk to him, and he's like, yes, do not go in there. You say, like, did you see Grout? And he just like ignores your questions and stuff. And he doesn't it's like he's not answering you.
Right.
That he's like got a programmed routine. And you kind of shrug that off and go inside, and there's some interesting mechanics to this next area.
There's a lot of interesting things in this next area.
There's these like ladies with masks who are carrying knives, and then there's these guys in like leather gear with masks, and if they see you, the ladies will attack you. If you can sneak around them, the ladies do not harm you.
Yeah, unless you try to interact with them, because I tried to talk to one and she was like, don't look at me, and then she attacks me.
So you can kind of get through this without any combat if you just avoid the men. But,
and we haven't really mentioned, but this game rewards experience points for objectives being completed, not based on a per kill thing.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, there's literally no point to combat.
Yep.
I didn't understand why these enemies were in here.
I don't know. I'm just hanging out.
Yeah.
But why are there a bunch of crazy people hanging out in this dude's house?
Because he's like their leader.
Yeah, he's the chief of the crazies.
Yeah.
Oh.
And this has some BioShock style recording devices that give you background on who he is.
He's a real Mr. Freeze.
Yeah, we talked about that beautiful painting of his wife. And you find out that he was just like this intellectual who got turned into a vampire and then did lots of research. He found no one had really been scientifically studying and been relying on superstition. And so he wanted to approach it from a more intellectual way. But he's also got the Malkavian influence, so he's losing grips on reality as he does it. And his mansion is kind of trippy.
I got super lost in this mansion and had to reload my save because I got to a point where I couldn't proceed, or I didn't know how, and I got so frustrated.
You said you got into a room full of mannequins, and I never got there.
Yeah, so like if if like around the time where you go into like where the cells are, you know, where there's the hallways that have like the cell doors, you can take a different path there where you start to go into these big wooden hallways that are all covered in blood.
Oh.
And then eventually the hallways branch out and they start to turn upside down and sideways.
What?
And you end up having to like fall through some doors and then have to jump through others because you're like walking on the roof. And then you come to this courtyard and you go in there and it's full of mannequins. And then the mannequins seem to be moving around when you're not looking.
Oh, that's really cool.
And then there's one bedroom at the top, and all that's in there is two mannequins laying on a bed facing each other.
Hot.
And the soundtrack to this room is just like people moaning, and there's like squelching noises.
Oh God!
Wow.
And then you turn around, and the mannequins are like surrounding the door of the room, and they all have their hands up. It's really weird.
Ooh, that didn't happen to me at all.
Yeah, I never went there.
It's really strange.
I wish
And
I
but, like,
had.
because of the way that you get there, like having to fall through the doors, you can't go back.
I bet there's some
So,
way
like,
to get out of there, but that's really interesting.
It's got to be some like plot thing later in the game, maybe. But it was trippy.
Yeah,
Maybe.
that sounds like you made that up. And it's like some weird, the game is actually turning into reality and you're going to get trapped in there, like Parodius
Is
thing.
this a creepypasta?
Yeah, this really sounds like a creepypasta.
Yeah, this is the No End House creepypasta.
Oh no!
Oh no. I had a haunted
Now that you've heard it, you have to go
haunted Sonic cartridge.
Moaning and squelching noises. It's right out of a creepypasta. There was one puzzle that I liked where one of the men in the leather suits is like pulling the switch over and over again.
Yeah.
And you have to time a second switch with his switch pull.
What?
Did you do this?
No, I killed him and then just pulled the switches myself.
No, it's like because he's like pulling it. So I went and stood by the other one and waited for his like giggle, and then we pulled them at the same time and opened a door.
Oh,
that's not how you open those doors, though.
I opened them by killing him and then pulling it.
You're supposed to. I think what you're supposed to do is pull them in the correct sequence that makes them all light up at the same time.
That's a different set of.
Oh, that's not this one?
This is the first one.
Either?
This is the one, like, the first one when you go in and turn right. Before.
Oh.
Like in the library.
Yeah, I just had to, like, pull all three or something, because I killed him.
I see.
So anyway, assuming you don't end up in Jim's imaginary room.
Yeah. I don't think that room exists, Jim. I think
No.
It totally does, and if you go there, you'll never stop thinking about it.
until it starts
now
coming
it's
into real
definitely a
life.
creepypasta.
Yeah.
Jim's gonna like make his bedroom a recreation of that room.
That's what I was thinking. I'm gonna like invite somebody over to hang out, and they're gonna walk in my bedroom, and it's two mannequins facing each other, and I'm gonna be making squelching noises from behind them. Like, do you hear that?
Aw.
Anyways,
I just got sad.
Did you hear that?
So, eventually you get to a room full of a woman in like a what would you call that? Like those music box.
She's in a Nora Freeze tank.
Yeah, it's but she spins around like a music box dancer,
Mm-hmm.
like that Frank Mills song. Music box.
Come on, she's the greatest dancer. That one.
I can't hum to it because I can't remember how it goes right now.
Okay.
Do 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 do. No, that's something else.
Hold me close, a tiny dancer.
No. It's a piano song. I'm sure you'd know it if you heard it.
Sing us a song, you piano man.
So there's also like different, I guess, artifacts from their life together. Like there's a picture of them.
Mm-hmm.
There's some,
And the recordings have made it clear that she has some kind of disease and he is seeking to cure it.
Mhm. So he's got her in some kind of stasis pod or something.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's what that is. Right before you find his body, that's the thing in the
Yes.
in the room.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And you get into his room, and unfortunately, he looks like there's a lot at stake here.
hey.
They've really raised the stakes of this game.
Yeah, it looks like he was. I'm sorry. Do you have another one? Go ahead.
No, I think I'm done.
It looks like he was cuffed by the hands and ankles to his bed, and then staked, and then also killed in some other way.
Yeah, I thought
It looked like he was set on fire.
I thought there might have been like a window or something. I don't know.
Oh, maybe he met the sun.
Yeah, because normally stakes don't kill a vampire, but this one has
Right.
turned him to dust, so something happened.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah,
So he can't call the prince.
and he was super murdered.
Mm-hmm. By whom? We do not know.
Yeah.
It's assumed to be Mr. Nines.
Yeah. Because
But we also know from his recordings that he was feeling really afraid of the prince. Like the prince was going to kill him.
Right. And you step outside of that room, and Marshall from How I Met Your Mother is there.
Mm-hmm. And he's like, listen up. This is how I met your mother.
No. We all
Oh.
know how he met his wife from Willow
Oh, yeah.
from Buffy.
He's like, listen up. I met Willow in college.
Yeah. I was like, he gave her a mixtape or something. I can't
I
remember.
don't know. I never watched that show.
Yeah. And Lily, that's his wife. So this guy who looks a lot like Marshall from How I Met Your Mother is like, I'm going to kill Alistair Grout. And you're like, he's already dead. You already killed him. He's like, no, I didn't. That's weird. Anyway, the house is on fire. Later.
Yeah, he sets the house on fire.
And he's got lots to tell you about how the Lord is going to cleanse the Satan spawn that is vampires. And Jim's like, whatever, man.
That's literally the dialogue option. Is whatever.
And then the house is on fire, and you have to you don't go out through the way you came. You have to go through some new hallways and get out. And all the enemies are on fire and can light you on fire, and fire is real bad for you as a vampire.
Mm-hmm. They run around flaming, and they're like, hey.
Is that a gay joke?
Yeah.
Oh.
No, if it was a gay joke, I'd be like, they run around flaming, and they're like, no.
Oh my goodness. How could you do that?
Jim, when I was hanging out with John, we were crossing a street at the corner, and traffic stopped for us. The guy who stopped was a postman driving a delivery van, and John did a little prance across the street in front of him.
Did he honk?
Yes.
He did. He went, honk, 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 honk.
Because that's my usual
amazing.
go-to when someone's stopping for me. I usually do a silly walk in front of them.
Yeah. And the guy really appreciated it.
Yeah.
That's great.
And so we go back to the prince after escaping from the fiery mansion through a window. There's a great scene of you landing in a really dramatic manner. That's how I got out anyways. Probably Jim got trapped in another room full of mannequins that lifted him and carried him out of the house.
And they were all dressed
They
as
did. They
firemen.
sheltered
They
me.
had these hoses, and they were putting out the fire.
But what was weird is they kept calling me Jim, even though I never told them my real name.
Yeah. Then they said
They
I was
carried
the
me
king.
all the way back to my apartment where I actually live.
And I saw myself playing the game. So you get to the prince, and you tell the prince about it, and he's real concerned. And you mentioned that you happen to mention maybe, I think you have to, that Nines was there. And he's like, well, this is going to start a war. We're at a bit of a detente, but it looks like if they're murdering a primogen, things are real bad. But before we start a war, I'm going to have to consider what to do next. In the meantime, why don't you? I've decided that we're going to take that sarcophagus. So why don't you head on over to the museum?
Yeah, because the police have relocated it to the museum where it belongs.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All it doesn't belong in Egypt or something.
Nope, that's not how the Western world works.
All right. Yeah, you go to the museum to get the sarcophagus. This is Vanessa's note for this is just snake through. It's a little I mean, yes. And once I found out that I can just crouch, the only thing I can't crouch my way past is stupid security cameras and laser beams.
Mm-hmm.
You
go to the museum. You can get in, I guess, just through the main door, right?
Yeah, you get a key to the front door.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then there is a sort of side door you can duck into pretty immediately that is the employee area.
Mm-hmm.
And I went up the stairs there, and at the top I had a very big scare because there was a vampire. No, wait, a
Raptor?
dinosaur.
Yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, but it didn't move.
So in my version of the game, every option I have is I don't need a key. I'm going in through the side door.
Uh-huh.
And the game won't let you go in through the front door.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, it's super strange. And you already start inside. So this game's weird.
This game's very weird. People have been tinkering with this game for over a decade, and it shows.
Yeah. So I ended up skipping. Yeah, it's like all the dialogues were like, I don't need to go in through the front door. I'm taking the side entrance. And it doesn't tell you how.
Does your vampire even know about the side
I don't
entrance?
know.
Yeah.
It just seemed like a weird, like, a broken thing where it's like, well, we can't make the front entrance work, so we're going to just put you inside the side entrance.
Fuck front doors.
So, yeah, that's basically what he says. So I went in through the side, and this area is the best looking part of the game. It looks really nice. I thought it was just the models of the look of the museum looks very nice. There's some cool stained glass. The exhibits look fun. I like the raptor. I found a key in one of these back halls, and I snuck around some guards. And everything was going good until we got to the security cameras downstairs. Those things, you have to like time it, and basically you have to run while they're pointed away from you until you're under it. That's I know you can mess around with the computer in the security office, but my hacking skills weren't good, and I had to kill some guards to get there. So I decided to avoid doing that until I got to the lasers, and then some guards had to die. How did you get past the lasers?
You can shoot the panel next to them and fry them out, or just punch it.
That's what I did.
Wouldn't that alert the guards?
No, you could just punch it.
Oh. Okay, because I hadn't alerted any guards till I got there, and even, like, I couldn't jump through them. I thought I could, but I hit them every time.
Mm-hmm.
I should have punched
Yeah,
that
you
panel.
want to punch that power panel.
But I don't know how you would get the key inside, because you need a key to get inside that room without...
The room doesn't seal up if you punch the thing. It only seals when the lasers are triggered.
Well, you are much smarter than I am, because I saw that panel, but I didn't see any way to interact with it, so I didn't try to hit it.
Punch it.
So I killed 2 guards.
That's not
You
very
can
many.
kill all of them. There's no penalty here. It's not like the police.
Well, he asks you not to. I didn't lose any humanity either. You're right.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So, once you get inside, you see the open sarcophagus, that's a bad sign. Everyone seems real into you not opening that, and it's already been opened by someone else. And you turn around, and Beckett is there. Remember your werewolf buddy? That is not a werewolf.
Guy who's definitely a werewolf.
Not a werewolf. And you can ask him about the antediluvians and how they're like the progenitors of the vampires and what he thinks is in there. He's like, it might be one of those. And he doesn't necessarily believe all the myths. And he's mentioned something about a apocalypse theory that could tie to what this thing is. Like a vampire apocalypse that would kill all the kindred. Some people think that's coming because there's thin bloods around, and they might be like, the vampire lines might be just diluting out, but he says there might be something else. There's some idea that something might come and just immediately kill all the vampires.
That's interesting.
Yeah. The plot thickens.
What was it? It's not called the Ghidorah, but it's something like that.
It is. I know what you're talking about.
Ghidra.
Like Vampire Ragnarok.
Godra or something. Yeah, Vampire Ragnarok. So, yeah, that's about it. You just go to the prince, and he's a real freaking out. He's not happy with you. He blames someone named Gary?
Yeah, he's like, it must have been Gary. Gary's the one who told me it was in the museum. Gary is the only one who could have taken it. Go to Hollywood and find Gary, and you find out where my sarcophagus is.
And he also says, oh, BT dubs, I'm totally going to start a war with the Anarchs. And I'm like, well, ooh, I probably shouldn't have mentioned nines, I guess. Oops. And that is the end of our chunker.
Good chunker.
A delicious chunker with much to do.
Very interesting. This mannequin room might be the biggest surprise I've ever had on this podcast.
You guys should check it out. Apparently, in this forum thing I found, it was somebody, they made it from some concept art from the game, and then the music and stuff was from like unused audio from the game, I think.
Oh, so something.
And so it's not, I guess it's not important to anything. It's just a thing that they put in there to, I don't know, like add some atmosphere.
How do you get out of it?
I guess you can, according to this article, you can go back through the labyrinth of upside down doors somehow. But I just did not have the patience to do that.
I'm kind of glad I didn't have that in my game, although that sounded pretty neat.
It wasn't neat, but it was super confusing.
It did mean you got stuck.
Yes.
There still have been no mini games so far. I found a dart that I could pick up and throw, but it just bounced off the wall. It didn't stick to the dart board.
But you did a good try.
Yeah. Is there anything else before we head to Squarely Against?
Nope, not that I can think of. The dinosaur did give me a fright. It had a note on it that said, like, stop moving the dinosaurs to give a fright.
I love that. That was great.
That was cool.
So, what are you roundly for or squarely against?
I guess I'm squarely against that dinosaur. It gave me a fright. I didn't like it.
You should not play Dino Crisis, I guess.
I'm not going to.
I was going to say roundly for the dinosaur, but now that we know that like certain parts of this game were added in the plus version or whatever, I wonder if the dinosaur was in the original game or in the plus
I have the original game. I don't have the plus version.
Oh, and you have the dinosaur.
Yes.
All right, dinosaur original game confirmed.
Yes.
Still roundly for the dinosaur.
I'm squarely against that whole plaguebearers stuff. There's just
Yeesh.
It just seems a bit icky. Maybe I'm just too sensitive to it, but in the queer community, this sort of stuff is a thing that happens for sure.
That sounds pretty icky.
Yeah. So that's my squarely against. Otherwise, I'm really enjoying this game, even if the combat is terrible and broken. Although, is it any more terrible and broken than Kingdom Hearts? I don't know.
Is it any more terrible or broken than Bard's Tale?
Ooh, what? It is not as broken as Bard's Tale.
I think you're right.
Because you can just...
At least this game doesn't have the big frame rate drops and all that
It
stuff.
doesn't have the thing where if you have enemies half on screen, you can kill them without them moving. All right.
Oh, hey everyone. We have a Patreon that you can contribute to for lots of fun bonus stuff. For just a few dollars a month, you can have access to our library of bonus content that includes our instant classic discussions, Square Roots Versus. We have some other fun episodes of just, level up stuff we've talked about before. There's a lot of cool stuff on there. Soon to be released is Vanessa, John, and I's discussion on Untitled Goose Game. And I believe next month we're talking about doing an instant classic on the Outer Worlds. So yeah, so check that out. If you would like to subscribe. Oh, and also another perk, if you're a $5 patron, is occasionally we will throw up a list of games for our patrons to vote on that we will play as part of the podcast. Let's see, the last one was... What's the last game that we played?
For the Patreon?
No, what's the last game that we played before Vampire?
Suikoden.
We played Suikoden, and that was one that was voted on by our listeners. So if you would like to get that privilege and listen to our cool bonus stuff, come see us at our Patreon. It is patreon.com/squarerootspodcast.
And we're working on getting a final list for the last vote of the year.
Yes, yeah, we're compiling that now.
So hopefully by the time you read this will be, or listen to this, you'll have that. We'll leave it up for a couple of weeks it'll just be it'll be 4 games. So it won't be like a full crazy vote.
Mm-hmm.
I'm quite excited.
And also as part of our Patreon benefits, we, at the end of every episode, it's customary for us to read through our list of patrons.
So we're playing. Have we talked about how we're playing next time until we go to Chinatown?
Oh yeah, next time. Where are we playing? We're playing to Chinatown.
Is there something more specific you can say? I don't want to
Sure. Specifically, we are playing until we arrive in Chinatown.
Okay, so there's no going to a different part of Chinatown first, or something that's named Chinatown but isn't quite Chinatown.
I don't think so.
Okay. That's good.
I mean, it's the next open world section.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is Chinatown.
All right. I believe you.
All right. So let's kick off our name reading.
Okay.
I'll go first. Let's see. Jake Dickerson, Robert T., Resty Kamada, Lex Averial, Christian Go, Huxley Iguana, Michael Crawford, Ross Disney, Joshua Bennett, Kevin Shipley, Wash in the Wind, Andy Smith, Andy M., G. Bailey, Amanda Douglas, Brian Stone, Lynn S., Alex Dullard, Mary Queen of Scoffs, Jared Collins, Just Jerry, Pad Kid Poured Curd Pulled Cod, Stompbot 9000, Owen Marble, The Mighty Monarch, Nick, Brady A. Berman, Patrick W. Bears, Vampire the Musky Rat, Vanessa's Fourth Mom, Carson Clark, John Kissick, Stephen Paget, PJ Enns, Robert M. Pollum, Sean Walsh, Adam Zimmerman, Eric Garb, Dylan Rice, Sean Gonzalez, Reddit _is Harold _Lauder, Mobo TFB, Paul Bursch, Julia Zanella, Cake Ninja, Danny Lucas, Benjamin Avner, Devin Sloan, Julian Titus's spirit has finally found peace.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Oh, Julian.
All right, so I've got Stephen Kroc, James Plett, Chris Penyak, Hudson Roth, Vanessa's People Mom, Matt Jorgensen, Nathan Poirot, Wonderswan, Biagio Demento, Raymond Crum, Knopford, Jimmy, Kyle, Galendo, Zachary Davis, fine, say everyone's name, at least it annoys Matt, Joseph Hexagon, Jonathan Lee has slain the father of, doesn't drink wine. Whoops, I should have moved those two. The Red Right Eye, Go Cry Wolf, James Hostetler, Kiva Mouser, Dustin, Crystal Thamrin, Ron Squared, David Shooks, The Misadventures of Mike Gundy's Mullet, Miguel Torres, Jonathan Ellsworth, DJ Ethro, Andy Best, The Scofflaws Podcast, Sammy Mitchell, Sean Arata, Aaron Bachman, Citrus C, Florian Jonas Kramer, KGG Loth, Gregory, Scarely Against, Justin Ham, Heavy Metal Jesus, Tracy Tanoff, No Gods, No Masters, Josh Anderson,
Dr. Stephen Stone, David Green, Brian Pitt. I did it for the gym. That one guy. Cody Wade is feeling A-OK. My mom. Ward Childress. Arm & Hammer. More games with evil playthroughs. Well, this is delivering, because we are all evil undead vampires. Meredith Anderson. Jason. Bobby Midkiff is on strike. That is outdated. Bobby Midkiff is no longer on strike. You heard it here first. Stu Skeel, Chris Ryan, David Pascal, Tyler Petty, George Brady. Check this box to prove I'm not a robot. Bree Girth, Jordan O'Boyle, Ross Hartley, Joseph A. Rogers, Vanessa's mom, Tom Hardman, Justin Benoit, Corroded Commode Abode, Jameson, Tom, to Bumpkins, Let's Get Spoopy, Matthew Casterline, Randy Pierce, Race Jenkins, Kevin Walter, Andrew Canary, Cyril the Wolf, Pumpkins, but you're an adult, Brody Toy, and Cameron Show.
All right, everybody, that's it for this episode of Square Roots. If you'd like to have an email read on the podcast, we can definitely do that. Send us an email, squarerootspodcast@gmail.com. Come see us at our Facebook group, the Square Roots Podcast group for smart, cool, very attractive people, or tweet at us. We are at Square Roots Pod.
Thanks to Katya Savia for letting us use her cover of Isolated from the Vampire the Masquerade soundtrack. You can find Katya on YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram as Katya Savia, one word, and Katya is Katja. And on Facebook as katyasavia.modernnoir. Links in the show notes. And don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts, because that helps people find our podcasts somehow through algorithms.
All right, everyone, that's it for this episode. Thank you for listening. Yeah. What else is there? Oh.
Wait, no.
Bye. Wait.
For Square Roots.
For Square Roots
Jim
Podcast.
Banks.
Oh, for Square Roots. I'm Vanessa.
Oh.
I
guess
Jim
that
Banks.
makes me Jim Banks. Oh. Well, wait. If you're Vanessa and you're Jim, then... Oh, I'm Matthew Van Sant.
I'm Johnny Brandon.
Bye. This is the greatest game of all time. Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines.
Crawl again. I'll never fall again until I'm free. Here I stand in this room, caged and trapped inside. Seems I'm damned to live a lie. Unaware of what's outside. Should I care for what's left me behind? And I stare at light that makes me blind. Internally, there's nothing left for me to be. I'm here alone and isolated. Have no choice but be isolated. Struggling, left alone, apart, pushed aside, made segregated. Struggling, left alone, apart. Have no choice but be isolated. Threatened, forced to extract the heart. Pushed aside, made segregated. Have no choice but be. Monsters make me hide. Perhaps I'll eat myself alive. Internally, what is there left for me to be? Can't care for what's left me behind. And I stare at light that makes me blind. These broken walls trap me inside and isolated. Have no choice but be isolated. Struggling, left alone, apart. Pushed choice but be isolated.